My best friend kissed me, called me sweetheart, and handed me dinner reservations for our 1-year anniversary that I didn't know we were in. When I asked him what he meant, he laughed and said, "You literally said yes, babe. Don't be weird." I just stared at him. That was 4 days ago. Tonight, I told him I loved him too. I've known Alex for 5 years. We had different classes, but the same friend group. Over time, Alex has really become one of the best people I know, and it's only getting better every day. I can't lie and say he's not my type. Nerdy, charming, sweet, funny, flirty with the right amount of awkward. He comes pick me up from class, plays hockey without being a douchebag to the skaters, and most importantly, gets treats for Luna, my cat. Multiple strangers have mistaken us for a couple, even close people like our friends, professors, and worst of all, my family. He's kind of perfect, but I've never even thought of putting the moves on him. Alex has never shown romantic interest in me. We're friends, nothing more, or that's what I thought. Today, he was spending the afternoon at my dorm, something Alex started about a year now. We're laying on my bed mindlessly watching Sonic cartoons when he says, verbatim, "So baby, where do you want to go this Friday?" Matter of fact, this is the first time I've been called baby by him, so that kind of shocked me. Instead of asking why, I froze and was just like, "What's happening Friday?" Alex turns to me and kisses me. Again, first time thing with us. Hugs my waist and goes, "Our 1-year anniversary, idiot. I'm making reservations." At this point, I'm frozen. I genuinely don't know what to say. I'm gobsmacked. The dude I thought was my best friend, who never even showed interest in the dating thing, is under the idea that we've been dating for a whole year. I'm silent while Alex continues hugging me and scrolling on his phone, racking my brain thinking about what to tell him when his phone starts ringing. It's Mrs. Park, which he puts on speaker, and she deadass goes, "Hi, are you still with your girlfriend?" Oh, so now his mom thinks we're dating too? Alex tells her yes, asks why she called. Mrs. Park asks for his help with private stuff I will not divulge here. He turns to me and goes, "Sorry, I'll be back in a bit, sweetheart." I just nodded. I was just like, "All right, see you in a bit." No questions, no screaming, just acceptance. Alex gets up to put on his sneakers and leans down to kiss me again, which I just accept at this point. It's a nice kiss besides the fact that my mind is somewhere else. He leaves and I get a text from Coach Rodriguez. "Tell Alex to come tomorrow at 19. He'll only listen if it's you." TF, you mean only me? You're the responsible adult tasked with training these hockey players. Why do you depend on me bringing him to you? But that led me to a rabbit hole of finding out who knows we're dating. Apparently, majority of the people I talk to think we're dating, or if I'm being correct here, know we're dating, and just have never mentioned it to me. I don't think it's a prank solely on the fact that Mrs. Park called me his girlfriend. They don't have the closest relationship. Minji is a very traditional, conservative, and religious Korean woman, always serious and does not play around. When she realized early on that Alex did not agree with many of her opinions, she stopped caring for him to the fullest, only keeping it civil for the rest of the family and friends. There's nothing Alex could have done to have her go along with something like this, especially when she wants him to marry young with a nice Korean girl, which I'm not. Also, Alex just does not seem like the guy to play with people like this. He might be dumb and oblivious, but not horrible. I don't know what to do now. I mean, Alex is a great guy, don't get me wrong. And if the last 5 years are anything to go by, he would be a great boyfriend, maybe even in the future a husband. But I've never looked at Alex that way, so I can't say I love him. When this occurred, it was like the glass shattered and I saw how differently he looked at me, how he talked and acted, stuff that never changed since the beginning, but for some reason I've never noticed. I can't sit here and pretend I love Alex like that. I wasn't thinking about him in that sense all this time. But, on the other side, I don't want to hurt him. Alex clearly thinks we've been together for that long, so he has to have strong feelings for me, and I don't want to step on them and scar him like that. I can't just keep dating him though, something that I've apparently been doing for a year. I could learn to love Alex eventually. It wouldn't take much to be honest, but it wouldn't be fair to him or me. In my defense, who dates someone and just does not ask them about it? If the roles were reversed and a year ago something happened where I was like, shit, I love him. This was probably a date. We're probably dating right now. I would have confirmed with him, or at the very least said something for the following year, not only at the 1-year mark. I just don't know what to do. I'm scared and angry, disappointed in myself for not recognizing the situation sooner. Feel like I'm stuck between the sword and the wall. Last thing I want is to hurt Alex, but I also don't want to lie to him. How should I go on about this with him? He must have been so confused when I kept denying it, but he never said anything, never corrected me. Why? Maybe he thought I was just private about relationships. Maybe he thought I didn't like PDA or labels. Maybe he was just happy to be with me and didn't want to rock the boat by bringing it up. That sounded like something Alex would do. He hated confrontation. But a whole year. We'd apparently been dating for an entire year and never once had a conversation about it. Never said I love you, or talked about the future, or done any of the things couples do. Or had we, and I just didn't realize it? All those late night talks about our dreams and plans. Were those dating conversations? All the times he'd brought me soup when I was sick, or helped me study for tests I was stressed about. Was that boyfriend behavior? I thought he was just being a good friend, but maybe I'd been wrong about everything. My phone buzzed. A text from Alex. Heading back now. Want me to grab coffee? He knew my order. Of course he did. He'd probably been buying me girlfriend coffee for a year while I thought it was friend coffee. I told him yes because what else was I supposed to say? I had maybe 10 minutes before he got back. 10 minutes to figure out what to do about this impossible situation. 10 minutes to decide if I was going to break my best friend's heart or live a lie. I looked at the photo on my desk. It was from last summer. Alex and I at the beach with our friends. His arm was around me and we were both laughing at something. We looked happy. We looked like a couple. How had I missed this? How had I been so oblivious? And what the hell was I supposed to do now? I stared at that beach photo until my eyes burned. 10 minutes turned into 5, then 3. I heard footsteps in the hallway and my heart started racing, but they passed by. Not Alex yet. I grabbed my laptop and opened Facebook. Maybe there were clues there. I scrolled through my photos from the past year. There were so many of me and Alex, like way more than I remembered taking. At parties, at hockey games, random selfies he must have taken when I wasn't paying attention. In every single one, he was looking at me like, oh no. He was looking at me the way guys look at girls they're crazy about. How did I not see this? The door opened and I slammed my laptop shut. Alex walked in carrying 2 coffees and a bag from the campus cafe. He smiled when he saw me and my stomach did this weird flip thing. Got your usual, he said, handing me the cup. And those chocolate croissants you like. Of course he did, because he was apparently the perfect boyfriend I didn't know I had. I took the coffee and tried to smile normally. It probably looked deranged. Alex flopped back down on my bed like nothing had happened, like he hadn't just shattered my entire worldview an hour ago. He pulled out his phone again. So I'm thinking either that Italian place downtown or the new sushi spot, he said. What sounds good to you? I took a sip of coffee to buy time. It was perfect. Exactly how I liked it, because of course it was. Whatever you want is fine, I managed. He looked up at me with this soft expression. Come on, it's our anniversary. I want it to be special for you. Special. Our anniversary. The words felt foreign in my brain. I needed to say something, do something. But what? Actually, I started, then stopped. My throat felt tight. What's wrong? He sat up, immediately concerned. You've been weird since I got back. Weird. Yeah, that was one word for it. I opened my mouth to tell him everything. That I had no idea we were dating. That this was all a huge misunderstanding. But looking at his face, the way his eyebrows pulled together with worry, I couldn't do it. Just stressed about my exam tomorrow. I lied. The organic chem one? I thought you studied for that all week. He remembered. Of course he remembered my exam schedule. I nodded and took another sip of coffee. Want me to quiz you? He offered. I still have my notes from when I took it. This was so Alex. Always trying to help. Always there when I needed him. My chest felt tight again, but for different reasons. Maybe later, I said. He scooted closer and put his arm around me. It felt different now that I knew what it meant to him. Not bad different, just different. I let myself lean into him a little. You'll do great, he said. You always do. We sat like that for a minute, him scrolling through restaurants on his phone, me having an existential crisis. Normal couple stuff, apparently. My phone buzzed. Sarah texting from down the hall. Can you and Alex keep it down tonight? I have an early class. Keep what down? We were literally just sitting here. Then it hit me. She thought, oh God, did everyone think we were, that we had been? I must have tensed up because Alex looked at me again. Seriously, what's going on? He asked. You're acting strange. I needed to get out of this room. I needed space to think. I stood up too fast and almost spilled my coffee. I just remembered I have to return a library book, I said. It's due today. Want me to come with? No, I said too quickly. No, it's fine. I'll be quick. He looked hurt for a second, but covered it with a smile. Okay, I'll be here. I grabbed my bag and practically ran out of the room. I didn't actually have any library books to return, but I needed air. I needed to think without him right there being all perfect and boyfriendy. I ended up at the library anyway. Might as well make my lie partially true. I found a quiet corner on the 3rd floor and pulled out my phone. I needed more information. I opened Instagram and went to Alex's profile. His most recent post was from last week. A picture of Luna sleeping on his hockey jersey. The caption read, my 2 favorite girls. His 2 favorite girls. Me and my cat. I scrolled down. More photos of us together. Some just of me that I didn't even know he'd taken. One from 2 months ago at a coffee shop. I was laughing at something, not looking at the camera. The caption was just a heart emoji. The comments made me want to throw my phone across the library. You guys are adorable. Emma, get you a man who looks at you like Alex looks at her. Some girl from his team. Happy 10 months. This was from 2 months ago. People were tracking our relationship timeline. I kept scrolling. There it was. A photo from that party at Dylan's. Alex's arm around me on the couch. Both of us smiling. The caption, best night. The date matched. Almost exactly 1 year ago. So that was definitely when he thought we started dating. But why? What made that night different from all the other parties we'd been to? I thought back harder. After he told that girl he was taken, we'd stayed on that couch for a while, talking and laughing. At some point, I'd gotten cold and he'd given me his hoodie. I still had it, actually. Wore it all the time. Oh my God, I'd been wearing my boyfriend's hoodie for a year without knowing he was my boyfriend. Later that night when the party was winding down, he'd walked me back to my dorm. That was normal, though. He always made sure I got home safe. But when we got to my door... Wait. When we got to my door, he'd hugged me. Also normal. But the hug lasted longer than usual. And when he pulled back, he'd kept his hands on my shoulders, looking at me with this expression I couldn't read. Then he'd said something like, so we're doing this? And I'd said yes, because I thought he meant walking me home from parties, like making it a regular thing so I didn't have to find other people to walk with. Safety in numbers and all that. But he meant, oh God, he meant us. Dating. Being together. And I said yes. No wonder he thought we were together. In his mind, he'd asked me out and I'd agreed. Then we just kept hanging out like always, but to him it was dating. I put my head down on the table. This was worse than I thought. It wasn't just a misunderstanding. I'd actually agreed to date him. I just hadn't known that's what I was agreeing to. My phone buzzed. Alex texting to ask if I was okay. I told him I was fine and I'd be back soon. Then I did something potentially stupid. I texted Mia. Mia was in our friend group, but she was studying abroad this semester. She'd been gone for 3 months. Maybe she'd have some perspective. Hey, random question, but how long have Alex and I been dating? She replied immediately. Like a year? Why? Did you guys break up? No, just wondering how you knew we were together. Are you hammered? You told me. At Dylan's party last year. You were so happy. I told her? I had no memory of this. I asked her what exactly I'd said. You pulled me aside and said Alex had just asked you out. You were giddy about it. Said you'd had a crush on him forever and couldn't believe it was happening. I stared at my phone. That didn't sound like me at all. I'd never had a crush on Alex. Had I? Are you sure? I was pretty tipsy that night. Yeah, you were wasted, lol. But you seemed really happy. You kept saying how perfect he was and how you couldn't wait to see where things went. Wasted. I'd been wasted. I barely remember the end of that party. Just flashes. Alex's hoodie, his hands on my shoulders, saying yes to something. Apparently, I'd also gone around telling people we were dating. Thanks. Just trying to remember some stuff. No problem. Tell Alex I said hi. You guys are still my OTP. I put my phone down and tried to process this. Hammered me had apparently been harboring feelings for Alex. Hammered me had been thrilled when he asked me out. Hammered me had told people about it. But sober me had forgotten everything. Sober me had spent a year thinking we were just friends while everyone else knew the truth, including Alex. This changed things. Or did it? I still didn't remember having feelings for him, but apparently I had at some point. Enough to tell Mia I'd had a crush on him forever. I thought about the past year with this new information. All those times I'd been happy to see him. The way I felt weird when he wasn't around. How I'd started wearing his hoodie everywhere. The way I'd light up when he texted me. Oh no. Oh no. Did I have feelings for Alex? Like actual romantic feelings? Had I just been in denial this whole time? I needed to test this theory. I closed my eyes and pictured kissing him again. Not the shocked frozen kiss from earlier, but a real kiss. One where I kissed him back. My stomach did that flip thing again. But not in a bad way. In a nervous, excited way. Like when you're at the top of a roller coaster. I pictured other things. Holding his hand. Going on actual dates. Waking up next to him. My face felt hot. These weren't friend thoughts. These were definitely more than friend thoughts. How long had I been having these thoughts without realizing what they were? I grabbed my stuff and headed back to my dorm. I needed to see Alex, to figure out what I was actually feeling. But when I got back to my room, he wasn't there. Just a note on my pillow. Went to practice. Be back around 8. Already made reservations for Friday at that Italian place you mentioned wanting to try last month. Love you. Love you. He'd written love you. My hands shook as I held the note. When had he started signing things with love you? How had I not noticed? I sat on my bed and looked around my room with new eyes. There was hockey stuff everywhere. His hoodie on my chair, his phone charger plugged into my wall, a toothbrush in the cup on my desk that wasn't mine. He practically lived here. All the signs of a relationship were right in front of me. I'd just been too dense to see them. Sarah came in around dinner time. She took one look at me and asked if I was okay. Can I ask you something? I said, sure. How long have you known about me and Alex? She gave me a weird look. Since it happened, you literally came home that night and told me everything. Another person I'd apparently told while hammered. What did I say exactly? That Alex had finally asked you out and you were so happy you could die. You made me promise not to make a big deal about it because you wanted to take things slow. Take things slow. Well, we'd definitely done that. So slow I hadn't even known it was happening. And you never thought it was weird that I never talked about it again? Sarah shrugged. You're private about stuff. And it was obvious you guys were together. You're always all over each other. All over each other? We barely touched. Except, okay, we hugged a lot. And he played with my hair sometimes when we watched movies. And I did tend to lean against him when we sat together. And there was that time last month when I'd fallen asleep on his shoulder at a party, and he'd carried me home. Okay, maybe we were a little touchy-feely. Thanks, I told Sarah. I'm just having a weird day. She gave me a sympathetic look. Anniversary jitters? Don't worry. Alex probably has something amazing planned. I nodded, and she left for her night class. Anniversary jitters. If only she knew. I laid back on my bed and stared at the ceiling. The same ceiling I'd stared at hundreds of times with Alex next to me, talking about everything and nothing. Comfortable silences, inside jokes, all the things that made us us. Maybe that's why I'd never questioned it. Nothing had really changed after we started dating. We just kept being us. Alex and me. Best friends who apparently everyone could see were more than that. Everyone except me. My phone rang. Alex calling from the rink. Hey, he said. Practice is running late. Coach is in a mood. Might not be back until 9. That's okay, I told him. I'll probably just study. Want me to bring food when I'm done? That Thai place you like? My favorite Thai place that was 20 minutes out of his way. Because of course he'd offer to go there. You don't have to do that. I want to, he said. Pad CU, medium spice, no bean sprouts. My exact order. I smiled despite everything. Yeah, thanks. Always. Gotta go. Coach is yelling. Love you. There it was again. So casual. Like he'd been saying it forever. Had he? How many times had he said it without me really hearing it? Bye, I said, not ready to say it back. After he hung up, I did something that probably wasn't healthy. I went through all our text messages from the past year, really read them this time. The good morning texts every single day. The hearts he'd started adding a few months in. The way he always said we when making plans. The casual miss you messages when one of us was busy. Then I found it. 3 months ago. A random Tuesday night. He'd texted, "Love you, good night," and I'd responded, "Night." He'd been telling me he loved me for at least 3 months, and I'd just not processed it. How was I this oblivious? How had I missed every single sign? I thought about my past relationships. The few guys I dated in high school and early college, they'd all been so obvious about their interest. Asking me out formally, big romantic gestures, constant reminders that we were dating. Alex hadn't done any of that. He'd just been there, steady and constant and caring, fitting into my life so seamlessly I hadn't noticed when friendship became something more, at least for him. But maybe that's how the best relationships worked. Not with fireworks and drama, but with quiet certainty. With someone who knew your coffee order and remembered your exam schedule and brought treats for your cat. I was starting to think Hammered Me had been onto something. By the time Alex got back, I'd worked myself into a complete spiral. I'd analyzed every interaction we'd had in 5 years. I'd found at least 40 instances where I should have realized we were dating. I'd also maybe realized I was in love with my best friend. He came in carrying Thai food and looking exhausted. His hair was still damp from his post-practice shower. He smiled when he saw me, and my heart did that thing again. "Hey you," he said, setting the food on my desk. "How'd the studying go?" "Fine," I lied. I hadn't opened a single book. We ate sitting on my bed like always. He told me about practice and some drama with the team. I half listened, too busy watching how his eyes crinkled when he laughed, how he gestured with his chopsticks when he got excited about something. When had he become so beautiful to me? Or had he always been, and I just hadn't let myself see it? After we finished eating, he laid back against my pillows. I curled up next to him, my head on his chest. This was normal for us. We'd done this hundreds of times, but now I was hyper-aware of every point where our bodies touched. "Can I ask you something?" I said. "Always." "When did you know you wanted to date me?" He was quiet for a moment. His hand came up to play with my hair like he always did. "Honestly, probably since sophomore year, but I didn't think you were interested, so I just tried to be the best friend I could be." Sophomore year. He'd wanted to date me for 3 years before he finally asked, and even then I'd been too hammered to properly remember it. What changed? At Dylan's party? I felt him shrug. "That girl wouldn't leave me alone, and you pretended to be my girlfriend to help. And I don't know, the way you looked at me when you said it. I thought maybe you felt the same way. So when I walked you home, I decided to shoot my shot. And I said yes." "You said yes," he confirmed. I was so happy I couldn't sleep that night. My chest hurt. He'd been so happy and I hadn't even remembered it the next day. But I must not have acted different because he never questioned it. "I'm sorry," I said without thinking. "For what?" "For not remembering. For taking a year to realize I was dating you. For being the worst girlfriend in the history of girlfriends. Just for being weird today." He kissed the top of my head. "We all have weird days. As long as you're okay." I wasn't okay. I was having a complete identity crisis. But I couldn't tell him that. Not yet. Maybe not ever. We stayed like that for a while. Him playing with my hair, me listening to his heartbeat. It was comfortable and familiar, and I wanted to stay there forever. Eventually, he had to leave. Early morning conditioning tomorrow. He kissed me goodbye at the door. A soft, quick kiss that felt practiced. Because for him it was. We'd been doing this for a year. "See you tomorrow?" he asked. "Yeah, tomorrow." After he left, I sat back on my bed. Tomorrow, and the day after that, and Friday, our anniversary. What was I going to do? I could tell him the truth, explain the whole misunderstanding, hope he could forgive me for basically forgetting we were dating. But that would hurt him so much. And for what? So I could clear my conscience? Or I could say nothing, keep pretending everything was normal while I figured out my feelings. But that felt wrong too. Like I was lying to him every second. There was a third option. I could accept that we were dating and see where it went. Stop overthinking and just let myself feel whatever I was feeling. Because I was definitely feeling something. The way my heart raced when he smiled at me. The way I felt safe when he held me. The way I apparently got hammered and told everyone I'd had a crush on him forever. Maybe I'd always known on some level. Maybe that's why I'd never dated anyone else this year. Why I'd been so happy to spend all my free time with him. Why wearing his hoodie felt like being hugged all day. I picked up my phone and scrolled to our messages. His last text was just a heart emoji. Such a small thing, but it made me smile. Maybe I couldn't remember the beginning of our relationship. Maybe I'd been the world's most oblivious girlfriend for an entire year. But that didn't mean I couldn't make it right going forward. I typed out a message and hit send before I could overthink it. "Thank you for dinner, and for being patient with me. Can't wait for Friday." He replied immediately. "Anything for you? Always. Always." He meant it too. Alex had been there for me always. Through failed tests and family drama, and that time I ugly cried for 3 hours over a TV show. He'd never asked for anything in return. Just kept showing up and caring about me in 1,000 small ways. Maybe that's what love looked like. Not grand declarations, but quiet consistency. Not fireworks, but steady warmth. Not demanding attention, but just being there. I thought about what Friday would be like. Our anniversary dinner. He'd probably dressed up. I'd wear something nice. We'd talk and laugh like always, but this time I'd know what it meant. What we meant to each other. The thought didn't scare me as much as it had a few hours ago. Actually, it kind of excited me. Like I was getting a second chance at our first year together. This time with my eyes open. My phone buzzed again. Alex sending me a TikTok of a cat that looked like Luna. Normal boyfriend things that I finally recognized as boyfriend things. Tomorrow I'd see him again. He'd pick me up from class like always. Maybe hold my hand on the walk back. Study with me in the library. All the things we'd been doing, but now they'd feel different. Because I'd know they were dates. That we were together. That he loved me. And maybe, if I was brave enough, I'd tell him I loved him too. Because I was pretty sure I did. Had for a while if hammered me was to be believed. I just needed to let sober me catch up. For now, though, I had an organic chemistry exam to study for. My boyfriend would be disappointed if I failed after all his help. Boyfriend. The word still felt strange but not bad. Actually, it felt kind of perfect. I pulled out my textbook and tried to focus, but I kept thinking about Alex. About us. About how sometimes the best things in life are the ones that sneak up on you so quietly you don't notice until they've already changed everything. I tried to study but kept reading the same paragraph over and over. My brain wouldn't stop spinning. I gave up after an hour and just went to bed. The next morning, I woke up to my usual good morning text from Alex. This time I actually noticed the heart he added at the end. Had that always been there? I sent one back and immediately felt weird about it. I got ready for class on autopilot, put on jeans and a t-shirt, then realized I was wearing his hockey hoodie again, the one from that party. I started to take it off but stopped. It smelled like him. It was comfortable. And apparently I'd been wearing my boyfriend's clothes for a year, so why stop now? My first class was brutal. I couldn't focus on anything the professor said. I kept thinking about Alex, about Friday, about what I was going to do. The girl next to me asked if I was okay, and I just nodded. When class ended, I walked outside, and there he was, leaning against the building where he always waited. He smiled when he saw me and pushed off the wall. "Hey," he said, falling into step beside me. "How was class?" "Fine," I lied. He took my hand, just reached over and laced our fingers together like it was nothing. My heart started racing. We'd held hands before, right? We must have, but it felt brand new. "You're being weird again," he said. "Sorry, just tired." He squeezed my hand. We walked across campus like that. People probably saw us and thought nothing of it. Just Alex and his girlfriend of 1 year. Normal couple stuff. When we got to the library, he found us a table in the back. I pulled out my chemistry stuff and tried to look like I was studying. He worked on some paper for his sports management class. Every so often, he'd reach over and touch my hand or play with my hair. Tiny things that made me lose my place in my notes. Around noon, he asked if I wanted to grab lunch. We went to the campus food court. He paid before I could get my wallet out. Another thing he probably always did that I was just now noticing. "You sure you're okay?" he asked when we sat down. "You've been quiet all morning." I needed to say something. The truth. A lie. Anything. But what came out was, "Do you love me?" He blinked. "Of course I do. You know that. Since when?" He put down his sandwich and really looked at me. "What's going on? Did something happen?" "Yes. I found out we've been dating for a year, but I couldn't say that. I need to know." He was quiet for a second. Then he said, "I think I've loved you since that time sophomore year when you showed up to my game even though you had the flu. You were so sick, but you said you promised you'd be there. Nobody had ever done something like that for me before." I remembered that game. I'd felt like death, but I'd promised to come to his first home game. So I'd loaded up on cold medicine and gone. Nearly passed out in the stands, but I'd stayed the whole time. "That was 3 years ago," I said. "Yeah. And you never said anything?" He shrugged. "I didn't want to mess up our friendship. You mean too much to me. I figured being your friend was better than not having you in my life at all." My chest felt tight again. He'd loved me for 3 years, waited for 3 years. And when he finally got the courage to ask me out, I'd been too hammered to remember it properly. "I'm sorry," I said. "For what?" "For everything. For nothing. For not being the girlfriend he deserved. I don't know. Just sorry." He reached across the table and took my hand. "Hey, what's really going on? Talk to me." I looked at our joined hands. His thumb was rubbing little circles on my skin. Such a boyfriend thing to do. How many times had he done this while I thought we were just friends? "I'm just nervous about Friday," I said. It wasn't a complete lie. His face softened. "It's just dinner. No pressure. We can do something else if you want." "No, dinner sounds good." "Okay, but if you change your mind, just tell me. I just want to spend time with you." He was so understanding, so perfect, and he had no idea his girlfriend had forgotten they were dating. We finished lunch and he walked me to my next class, kissed me goodbye like it was routine, which for him it was. I spent the entire lecture thinking about that kiss. After class, I had a 2-hour break. Usually I'd go find Alex, but I needed more time to think. I texted him that I was going to study in my room. He sent back a thumbs up and a heart, but when I got to my room, I couldn't study. I just laid on my bed staring at nothing. Tomorrow was Thursday, then Friday, our anniversary. I had to make a decision. Sarah came in around 4. She took one look at me and sat on her bed. "Okay, what's actually going on?" she asked. "You've been weird for 2 days. It's complicated. Is it about Alex? Did you guys have a fight?" Nothing like that." "Then what?" I sat up and looked at her, really looked at her. She'd been my roommate for 2 years. We told each other everything, or at least I thought we did. "Can I ask you something crazy?" "Always." "What if you found out something about your life wasn't what you thought? Like something big that everyone knew but you?" She tilted her head. "Is this about your parents' divorce?" Just hypothetically. I guess it would depend on what it was, and if not knowing had hurt anyone. Had it hurt Alex? He seemed happy. He'd never complained or acted like anything was wrong. But maybe he was just really good at hiding it. "Thanks," I said. "You know you can tell me anything, right?" I nodded, but I couldn't tell her this. It was too weird, too embarrassing. "Hey Sarah, funny story. I just found out I've had a boyfriend for a year." "Surprise?" She left for her evening class. I tried to study again but gave up. My exam was tomorrow and I was going to fail. Add that to the list of ways I was failing this week. Alex texted around 7 asking if I wanted to get dinner. I told him I wasn't hungry. It was true. My stomach had been in knots all day. He asked if I wanted company anyway. I said no. I needed one more night to figure things out, but I didn't figure anything out. I just laid there thinking in circles. By the time I fell asleep, I was no closer to knowing what to do. Thursday morning came too fast. I bombed my chemistry exam, completely blanked on half the questions. All that studying with Alex for nothing. He was waiting outside when I finished. How'd it go? He asked. Terrible. I'm sure you did better than you think. I hadn't, but I didn't argue. He took my hand again as we walked. I let him. It was starting to feel normal, natural even. Want to do something tonight? He asked. Take your mind off the exam? Like what? Movie? That new horror one you wanted to see is playing at 7. I had mentioned wanting to see that movie weeks ago, just once. But he'd remembered because of course he had. Okay, I said. He smiled and squeezed my hand. It's a date. A date, because we were dating. Had been dating. God, this was still so weird. I went to my afternoon classes in a daze. Took notes I'd never be able to read later. Thought about Alex the entire time. About the movie tonight. About tomorrow. About everything. When I got back to my room, I actually tried to look nice. Put on real clothes instead of sweats. Did my hair. Even put on the necklace my mom had given me for my birthday. If I was going to be Alex's girlfriend, I should probably put in some effort. He picked me up at 6:30. His eyes went wide when he saw me. You look beautiful, he said. It's just jeans and a sweater. Still beautiful. My face felt hot. He'd probably said stuff like this before, but I'd brushed it off as friend compliments. Now I knew better. The movie was terrible, but in a fun way. We sat in the back and shared popcorn. He put his arm around me during the scary parts. I hid my face in his shoulder when it got too intense. Normal date stuff that felt anything but normal to me. After the movie, we walked around town for a bit. It was cold and I'd forgotten my jacket. He noticed me shivering and gave me his without asking. Another thing that was probably routine for us. Thanks for tonight, I said as we headed back to campus. I needed the distraction. Anytime. You know I'm always here for you, right? I know. And I did know. That was the thing. Even when I thought we were just friends, I'd known I could count on him for anything. He was my person. The one I called when things went wrong, or when things went right, or when nothing was happening at all, but I just wanted to hear his voice. Maybe that should have been my first clue. You don't feel that way about just friends. When we got to my dorm, he walked me to my door like always, but this time I was hyper aware of what came next. The goodnight kiss. The casual love you that I'd apparently been ignoring for months. So I'll pick you up at 6 tomorrow? He asked. For dinner? Tomorrow? Friday? Our anniversary. Yeah, 6 is good. He smiled and leaned in to kiss me. This time I kissed him back. Really kissed him. Not the frozen shock of Tuesday or the quick pecks since then. A real kiss. When we pulled apart, he looked surprised but happy. What was that for? He asked. Just felt like it. Feel free to feel like that anytime. He kissed me again, quicker this time, then headed for the stairs with a, love you, see you tomorrow. I stood in the hallway for a full minute after he left. My lips still tingled. My heart was doing that racing thing again, but it wasn't panic this time. It was something else. Something that felt a lot like excitement. Inside my room, I sat on my bed and really thought about it. About Alex. About us. About what I wanted. The truth was, I liked being with him. Loved it, actually. These past few days of knowing we were together hadn't been as weird as I'd expected. Mostly they'd been nice. Really nice. And kissing him? That was definitely something I wanted to do more of. A lot more of. I thought about telling him the truth, explaining the whole misunderstanding. But what would that accomplish? It would hurt him, make him question everything about our relationship, maybe even end things between us. And I didn't want things to end. That was the real revelation. Now that I knew we were together, I didn't want to go back to being just friends. I wanted the hand-holding and the kisses and the casual, I love yous. I wanted Alex as my boyfriend. So maybe the answer was simple. Don't tell him. Just move forward. Be the girlfriend he thought I'd been all along. Because honestly, I was pretty sure I was in love with him too. Had been for a while. I'd just been too scared or blind or stupid to admit it. I picked up my phone and scrolled through our messages again. All those hearts and good morning texts and inside jokes. The foundation of something real. Something good. Something I wanted to keep. Tomorrow we'd have our anniversary dinner. He'd probably be nervous even though he'd never admit it. I'd wear the dress Sarah had been trying to get me to wear for months. We'd go to that Italian place I'd mentioned wanting to try. And maybe, if I was brave enough, I'd tell him I loved him too. With words this time. Not just by wearing his hoodie or letting him bring me coffee or falling asleep on his shoulder. Real words that he could hear and understand and remember. Because he deserved that. After 3 years of waiting and 1 year of dating a girl who didn't know she was dating him, he deserved to hear it. I got ready for bed feeling lighter than I had all week. Tomorrow would be good. Different, but good. A new start to something that had apparently started a year ago. My phone buzzed. Alex sending his usual goodnight text. This time I noticed everything about it. The heart emoji, the sweet dreams, the casual intimacy of it all. I sent one back. Good night. Can't wait for tomorrow. Love you too. It was the first time I'd said it, written it, meant it. 3 little words that changed everything and nothing all at once. His response was immediate. Just a string of heart emojis. I could picture him in his room, probably grinning at his phone like an idiot. It made me smile too. Friday came fast. I woke up nervous but excited. Got through my classes somehow. Spent way too long getting ready. Sarah helped with my hair and makeup. She kept saying how cute we were going to look together. Alex showed up right at 6 wearing a button-down shirt and nice jeans. He'd even done something with his hair. He looked good. Really good. Wow, he said when he saw me. You look amazing. You clean up pretty nice yourself. He held out his hand and I took it. We walked to his car and he opened the door for me. Another thing he probably always did that I was just now appreciating. The restaurant was nice. Nicer than our usual places. He'd made a reservation and everything. The host sat us at a little table by the window. Alex looked nervous as he studied the menu. This place okay? He asked. We can go somewhere else if you want. It's perfect. And it was. The food, the atmosphere, him, all of it was perfect. We talked about normal stuff at first, classes and hockey and our friends, but then he reached across the table and took my hand. Can I say something? He asked. Always. This has been the best year of my life. I know I'm not good with words and I probably don't say it enough, but you mean everything to me. I love you so much, it's actually stupid. My chest felt tight, but in a good way. I squeezed his hand. I love you too, I said, and meant it. Really, truly meant it. His whole face lit up, like I'd given him the best gift in the world, which I guess maybe I had. The rest of dinner was perfect. We laughed and talked and held hands across the table. He kept looking at me like he couldn't believe I was real. I probably looked at him the same way. When we left the restaurant, it was snowing. Big fat flakes that stuck to our hair and clothes. Alex pulled me close as we walked to the car. Thank you, he said, for tonight, for this whole year, for everything. Thank you for being patient with me, I said. I know I'm not always the easiest person to be with. You're worth it. Always have been. He kissed me there on the sidewalk with snow falling around us. It felt like a scene from a movie, except better because it was real. We were real. In the car, he held my hand while he drove, his thumb doing that little circle thing that I was starting to love. We didn't talk much, but it was a comfortable silence, the kind you can only have with someone who really knows you. Back at campus, he walked me to my door again, but this time felt different. Not an ending, but a beginning. The start of year 2, except this time I'd be present for it. I'll see you tomorrow? He asked. Definitely. I love you. I love you too. He kissed me goodnight and headed for the stairs. I watched him go, this boy who'd been my best friend and then my boyfriend and somehow both at the same time. Inside my room, I sat on my bed and smiled. The past week had been insane. Finding out I had a boyfriend, realizing I was in love with him, deciding to just go with it instead of blowing everything up. Maybe someday I'd tell him the truth, when we were old and married with kids, and it would be a funny story instead of a devastating revelation. Or maybe I'd never tell him. Maybe some secrets were worth keeping if they protected the people we loved. For now, though, I was just happy. Happy to have Alex. Happy to love him and be loved by him. Happy to start year 2 of our relationship with my eyes wide open. My phone buzzed. A text from him even though he'd just left. Already miss you. Is that stupid? I smiled and typed back. Not stupid. I miss you too. And I did. My boyfriend of 1 year and 4 days. The boy who'd waited 3 years to ask me out. Who'd spent a year being the perfect boyfriend to a girlfriend who didn't know she had a boyfriend. Tomorrow I'd see him again. And the day after that. And all the days after that if I was lucky. We'd hold hands and share food and fall asleep watching movies. Normal couple stuff that I finally understood was couple stuff. It was a weird way to start a relationship. Or continue one, I guess. But it was our way. And honestly, I wouldn't change a thing. Okay, maybe I'd change the part where I forgot we were dating for an entire year. But everything else? Perfect.